Hey, it's Gide. I'm making this video to talk about the state of the game since the dev team has been sacked. I'm sure that you have already heard that the dev team has been reduced to all but one person since December 29th of 2022. It came as a shock to both us players and the dev team themselves. Snazzy Duckling, who has been the community manager for Post Scriptum since the beginning, told us himself that he and the team were expecting to come back after their holiday break. I've been meaning to do this video sooner, but I was holding off until I could get more information. But officially, there hasn't been any notice from Periscope Games since the time of recording, which is over a full week after the sacking. And I'm getting all of my information from Reddit and Discord, which is a complete shit show right now, so I do not recommend being a part of that. This whole situation seems to have put a halt on all the plans the dev team has had for the free weekend that was supposed to start on the 5th, but has never come about. I think any development in general is going to be on hold, including the third map for Chapter 3, until further notice, I guess. So, the elephant in the room about Post Scriptum is whether or not the game is officially dead. And I don't really like the way people throw that word around all over Reddit. Just because weird stuff is happening on the development side doesn't mean that servers are down or players aren't playing anymore. And throwing the words around like dead game is neither accurate or helpful. It only puts the game in a negative feedback loop where we deter new players. It's especially stupid when I see veterans who play the game all the time saying that it's dead. Like, you're a hypocrite, bud. I'm not going to pretend, though, that this is not a really bad sign. I mentioned in a previous video why new players are leaving, link in the description by the way, how if important issues aren't addressed, we're going to see a player base stagnate, and the game is just going to move into obscurity. At the rate that we are at, I could see this happening within a year. Short term, I think the community is going to do a good job in keeping the game going. The Shifting Sands team announced after the sack that they would release their mod by January 27th, and it's also been proposed to implement a mod to add bots to help in filling servers. It just goes to show how well the community is handling this, but I don't think it's sustainable long term. Post Scriptum kind of had the odds stacked against it since the beginning. Since launch, the video game market has been saturated with World War II games like Hell Let Loose, Call of Duty World War II, Battlefield 5, and Enlisted, just naming a few. And I mean, Post Scriptum is still by far the superior game, just in authenticity and general immersion. So it fills its niche, but the marketing for Post Scriptum is just lacking. When I look at PostScriptum YouTube, there are very few consistent content creators. The few that we do have are under 1,000 subs, and the only YouTubers that are over that 1,000 are Germans and Boogie5, which, don't get me wrong, Boogie's a good guy, but we're small-time guys, and we don't have a budget. So, in retrospect, PostScriptum should have marketed itself better. But I think since it was a passion project, it probably wasn't in the mind of the devs so much, which probably bit them in the butt a little. I guess PostScriptum's main downfall was the lack of optimization. We have been dealing with the same bugs for years now, and the switch to Unreal Engine 4 didn't improve frames at all for most people. Yes, the devs pushed out content updates, but when your game is unplayable for a large portion of your base, no amount of content is going to bring them in. I get comments on my channel about how the game looks fun, but it's just unplayable for some people, and it's sad. I guess obviously I'm not familiar with the development process, and this is all in retrospect, so I could be totally missing it here, but whatever. Overall, I think Periscope Games is just cutting its losses. They probably couldn't make ends meet, and they threw out the dev team. I'm just surprised at how all of a sudden this is. I just think of how eerily similar this situation is to another game that used to be in the pits, that being Planetside 2. Both had a small but strong player base. Both dev teams focused on producing an entirely different and unsuccessful game, and then the dev teams were cut down. In the case of Planetside, the team was acquired by a new studio and realized how valuable their player base was. Their new dev team then put their effort into Planetside 2 and made it into a thriving game. In fact, I think that they just beat a world record for the most amount of players in an online world or something. So I think that long term, the best case scenario for Post Scriptum is that it gets acquired by a team that puts all effort into making the game as good as possible. Maybe even a Post Scriptum 2. We will just have to wait and see what happens. To panic and to make any conclusions is just silly and unhelpful. Uh, as for me, I will continue to play the game and make content until it becomes impossible to find a server to play on. If you made it this far in the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I made a Discord server recently where I would like to have players meet each other and just have a good time. You can keep up with me there. I plan on creating an updated post-scriptum infantry and squad leader guide. So keep up the support, guys, and thanks for watching.